Alright guys, and welcome back to another Stogie Lad cigar review. We've got a cigar here that I've been anxiously waiting to get my hands on and finally be able to get to review. This is the Ramon Allones King of North, and I'm not mispronouncing that. They have named it King of North. It's the Exclusivo Nordicos-Balticos, so this is the regional edition for the Scandinavian countries, or the Nordic countries, and the Baltic nations. So it's us very far northern European nations that are all bunched together. Obviously a lot of small markets, so we can't get one regional each, but we do get this one as a collective. This is the first one since 2017. The last one we had was the Rafael Gonzalez North Star. That was a short Robusto, very short Robusto, petite Robusto, or what you want to call it. This is quite the opposite in terms of size. This is a quite massive for a Cuban cigar, almost the identical as a US market Toro. This is a 6 1/4 inch length, or 155 millimeter by 50 ring gauge. So it's pretty much spot on a Toro, and not a cigar that's very common in traditional regular production lineups for Cuban cigars, but a size that you're seeing more often with these new special edition Cuban cigars. A size that's very nice, though, I think more for our Northern European and Swedish, for us, summer months rather than the winter months. But since it's October, it's still warm enough to smoke a Toro, but not by a lot. But I'm really excited to smoke this. It's been announced for quite a while. I should say that this is, I know I shouldn't be lighting this up in a way. It's very fresh. These cigars were from May 2021 when they were rolled, so this is, you know, just a few months old. Shouldn't really light it up, but I really want to try it. I really want to get, you know, my first take on it, as this is brand new, exclusive for the northern countries. Such a beautiful cigar as well. It has a really nice sheen, oily sheen, a beautiful wrapper. So I'm really excited to smoke this Ramon Allones Regional. I'm going to get it lit up. I'm going to be back to you guys in the first third and give you my first take then. All right, so we're 15 minutes in, and I'm pleasantly surprised. I had my expectations set as low as you can, you know, as this is such a fresh cigar. You just never really know. First and foremost, before lighting up, I, you know, felt the cigar as you do. This felt very spongy. It had a lot of give to it. It's certainly not over humidified, not at all, but it is underfilled for a Cuban cigar. It's very, very spongy, and the draw is much more open than you get. Exceedingly underfilled for a Cuban cigar, and that's very, very rare. You don't really get underfilled Cuban cigars, rarely ever, especially with like a open draw. This feels very much like a non-Cuban cigar in that sense. The draw is something I'm not used to. It's burning like a dream, probably because the draw isn't as tight as Cuban cigars often can. So in terms of construction, it's perfect. Like I mentioned before, the wrapper is gorgeous, you know, tight seams, no veins at all really, and it's very oily, but flavor is also very, very nice. There is a bit of white pepper. At first, the cigar was insanely salty. Salted crackers, grass, and hay. That was pretty much it. I was very underwhelmed the first 5 minutes or something, but now the last 10 minutes since then, spectacular. The saltiness is still quite there. It's not just that heavy salted cracker note. The vegetal stuff like the grass and hay, it's gone now. I'm getting more of like a cocoa, like a milk chocolate type sweetness. There's like a red bean kind of a note. There is like a beany note to it. The smoke is a little bit powdery, and there's a nice sweetness on the ever-evolving finish. The finish is super long, so this does taste a lot more aged than it is. Still, though, those flavors aren't extremely pronounced. It's a lot of, you know, Cuban tobacco in front of that, so these will, you know, obviously they'll balance out a lot better with some age on it. There's a lot of white pepper as well, both immediately after the puff and now, kind of lingering in the back of the throat. Not bad, not a lot of it or anything. It's just adding to the complexity a little bit. But so far, I'm very happy. The retro hill is extremely easy and smooth. The sweetness is very nice, countering that initial saltiness. It's a nice cigar. It's not very, very complex, but it's very nice in terms of flavor. So I'm very happy with that. This is not at all the Ramon Allones I'm used to. I love Ramon Allones. The specially selected is probably my favorite Cuban Robusto. This is not at all that flavor profile. I do notice this happens a lot in terms of Cuban cigars when you buy the limited edition stuff, that it doesn't that often actually match what the band says. I don't really know how they decide. I don't know if they blend it first and then they go, this could be a Ramon Allones, or I don't know how they go about it. But it's not heavy at all. This is light to medium. It doesn't have that earth that I'm used to, a little bit of leather of the specially selected. This is actually quite a light cigar. Maybe this will develop over time, but usually with age, cigars go down a little bit in body. So if this is light to medium now, yeah, this is interesting. It's not bad whatsoever. It's just, take the Ramon Allones with a grain of salt, because this is not going to be a Toro version of the specially selected. It's not even close to that so far, at least. But I'm going to keep smoking. I'm going to get back to you guys in the second third, see how this develops. So far, really, really enjoying it, though. Second third here, about 40 minutes in. So it's burning pretty slow, even though it's so open and, an open draw and everything. A little bit paradoxical. Burning beautifully. Again, no touch-ups needed. It's just burning like a charm. You always love to see that in these more special edition Cuban cigars that you have such high hopes for. In terms of flavor, it's still not overly complex, and the flavors are a little bit in the backdrop. The cocoa has vanished. A little bit of earth has entered. It's a little more salty again now. And that bean note is still there, interestingly enough. Those are the main notes on the palate. On the finish, there is a very nice fruity character. And since that puff that I took beginning here, now that fruitiness is coming in. That's a really nice touch, I think, and that adds a lot to the complexity. The fact that the finish doesn't just fade, that fruitiness comes in. The white pepper has settled, almost completely gone now, so it's a lot more calm. It's certainly medium bodied now. It started out very light to medium, certainly took a medium bodied character, still ways away from the classic Ramon Allones that I'm used to. So I don't know, take that as you will. I don't know if that's a bad thing. For some people might be disappointed in that. I don't really mind it. This is a different cigar, so it's just very good. I love the flavor notes here that are there, but they aren't so prominent and they aren't that complex yet. But this is just 5 months old, so at the end of the day, this is outperforming any expectations that I would have from such a young cigar. And I mean, obviously, aging is always going to be a gamble. You never really know how it's going to go, but it's certainly going to get better from here because it's this young. But then in the long run, you never really know. But I think this has really fantastic aging potential, because for me personally, the notes that are there are fantastic. I really love them. So we'll see how this develops over time, and we'll see how this develops right now as well, because I'll be smoking this down to the finish and give you guys my final thoughts in just a little bit. All right, lads, well into the final third here. Well over an hour, at like an hour and 15. I probably have smoked this a little faster than I should, but this is certainly an hour and a half cigar, especially if it's not this lightly packed. So it's burning beautifully. I cannot complain whatsoever about the construction. Burnt like a dream. It's starting to get a little bit harsh here, and there is quite a bit left, so I'm not sure how much there's going to be left here. This is the first time there's been any sort of harsh note whatsoever in the cigar. And for a 5-month-old, again, I'm repeating that, but that is quite astounding that there's no roughness in the cigar until now. And still, it's not bad or anything, just starting to creep in. And I'm sure, after another 10 minutes, it'll be time to definitely put this cigar down. In terms of notes, this final third really surprised me, I have to say. It kind of caught me off guard, because the final third came in with a huge amount of fruitiness. At the end of the second third, I started feeling, like right after the puff, I started feeling this very almost perfumey floral note. That's slowly shifted, and now it's almost gone, because now it's mostly just earth and heavier tobacco at the end here. But throughout the final third, it was just a huge fruitiness, like tropical fruits. I was so surprised. I didn't think the cigar was heading in that direction. I did mention a fruitiness on the finish before, but that was very light and more like a cherry style. This was like tropical fruits, almost unlike anything I've had before, which was super interesting. I'm not sure how that's gonna show itself in the future of this cigar, but very, very interesting nonetheless. Still very nice though. So for the rating, I'm gonna give this cigar an 86. That might sound low because I've been talking positively about this, but the perspective needs to be here that this is an extremely young cigar. It's still rough around the edges in terms of the flavor profile. The notes are a little bit shrouded. They're not very clean. Coming in and out, there's a lot of tobacco, just pure tobacco flavor right up front. So it's not that developed and it's not extremely complex. I really enjoyed the smoke, which again, surprisingly for a 5-month-old cigar, but it is an 86 in terms of it's not a completed cigar that's intended to be smoked now. Take that though with a lot of positivity, because I think the cigar is going to become amazing another maybe half a year and then a year after that or something, and I think this is going to start coming into its own a lot. I'd say for anyone that lives up north here in the countries that this is being distributed, grab some. Try to grab a box. I don't know, everyone's situation is different, but definitely try to get some. 6,000 boxes were made of this, and I think this is going to age very well. Regional editions always are very sought after, and they increase hugely in value as time goes. So I think it's worth to get an investment now when they're available for about $20 US. I think about 20 euros, I should say. I'm not sure with the US dollars. About 20 euros a cigar, which I think is good for a big Cuban like this. So definitely worth it. Grab some, try one if you want to, but generally try to age these, and I think these are going to be fantastic. But that's my take on the brand new King of North. Again, it's not King of the North, I think trademark issues or something, but King of North regional edition for the Nordics. I enjoyed the cigar for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed the video though, and as always, I catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.